Right now at noon, evacuations and water rescues are underway in Morgan County after a levee broke, causing some major issues this morning.
If you can help, help. Other people need you. If you've been blessed enough, then help somebody else.
Another to help flood victims across the state.
And thankfully at this hour, just a few spotty showers across central Indiana. 7-day forecast will time out some additional thunderstorm days ahead in just a few minutes.
Hey everybody, we start 13 News at noon with day 6 of massive flooding across parts of Indiana. Crews out checking damage and rescuing stranded Hoosiers across some of the hardest hit areas, and that includes right there in Morgan County. So let's get you caught up with where things stand right now. The primary focus is in Morgan County after a levee broke last night, forcing evacuations and water rescues. Let's get right to Callie Lichter there with the latest.
The Madison Township Fire Department says Monday morning was a prime example of the message they're trying to spread. Do not pass these orange barriers and try to drive through floodwaters. That message was one Morgan County first responders wished residents would take to heart after they completed their 11th water rescue Monday morning. A delivery driver taking packages to houses on Centenary Road south of State Route 144 had to call 911 after getting stranded in floodwaters on top of his car.
Somebody completely disregarded our barricades that were on the road, drove around the barricades, and ended up in the floodwaters that are behind me.
The man was rescued, but his car was left behind, floating in the floodwaters. Brandon Perry with Madison Township Fire Department says it's been constant calls for residents trapped in cars and houses.
That's where a lot of people get into situations, is they start to venture in thinking, it's not going to happen to me, I'll be okay, I can do this. And then they get into a situation where the road might be washed out from underneath of them.
He says as the water rushed across fields and neighborhoods Sunday, it took out Smokey Road, north of State Route 144. Not being able to see the road is just another reason Perry urges not to drive through the floodwaters.
So we have to pay attention, put our phones down, make sure we're truly focused on the road, because it could have floodwaters over, and that might be your normal route.
He says packages, coffee, and running errands can wait. It's not worth risking your life. If you find yourself in an unsafe flood situation, Perry says to call 911, leave the saving up to the professionals. Callie Lichter, 13 News.
All right, thank you, Callie. We're going to get to the latest from other locations as well in just a moment. Catastrophic damage in Hamilton County, Delaware, Madison, Wayne counties as well. But first, I want to get to Sean with where things are right now in Morgan County. Has the river crested yet there?
It's in the process.
Okay.
The last several observations, and the closest river gauge to Martinsville is in Centerton. And the last several, it's hit 17.65 feet. So once we see that, then we'll have to wait and get a couple of obs that start to go down, then you feel confident, okay, it has hit its crest. So I want to show you the latest here. This is I-69 there at Henderson Ford Road. Matt and Lindsay were showing you this all morning. You can see the White River up to I-69, and you can see the interstate's elevated for a reason there. So it's making it to the banks, so we don't believe it's going to get any higher than what it is right now. Here's the latest. As I mentioned, 17.65. That's the forecast crest. That puts it in the moderate phase. And then it will be a slow process to go down. And then, of course, the crest wave is slowly moving down the White River. Next in line in terms of a gauge will be White River there in Spencer and Owen County. Right now at 15.64 feet with a forecast crest subject to change sometime tomorrow afternoon at about 21.7. Again, puts it in the moderate flood stage there. We do have some hit and miss downpours on live Doppler 13 radar. At this point, we don't envision anything widespread. However, and I'm going to show you our dew points once again, temperatures in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees, but this is what matters most. We still have air that is extremely humid. So anything that is on radar today can put down some very intense rain rates, but these should be quick movers and minimize widespread accumulation. We'll keep in that spotty rain chance. Notice the wind shift there later today. It's actually going to drop the muggy meter, at least for a little bit. I'll have more on that in the rest of your 7 day in a few minutes.
We'll see you then It's a look at 116th and River Road in Carmel, Hamilton County. Homes submerged in those rushing floodwaters and roads covered, in some places even washed out completely. In fact, some of the most stunning scenes of damage are in Carmel, including right there. This is Hazel Dell Parkway. Part of that road is gone as rising water rushed under the bridge, and you can see where part of the bridge actually collapsed. Carmel Mayor Sue Finkham said over the weekend crews are working on that damage, trying to get everything back into place. No doubt it'll be a while, and she's warning people not to stop by to check it out yourself. We've also learned the death toll from this flooding is now at 7. 7 people have died since Wednesday. The oldest, an 86-year-old woman in Porter County up in northwest Indiana. The youngest, a 4-year-old boy in Jennings County. The other 5 deaths have been confirmed in Delaware County, Lake County, LaPorte, and Henry County. That death toll includes a woman who died after being swept away by the flood in Yorktown. This is 58-year-old Stephanie Sally. Her body was found Friday in a flooded cornfield about 50 feet from her vehicle. Investigators say they believe she was trying to drive through moving water that covered the road, and the water carried her car away. Remember, if you come upon bodies of floodwater, turn around for your safety. And some of the most stunning images we've seen over the weekend are also coming from the north side of Indianapolis, the Ravenswood neighborhood just northeast of Broad Ripple. Our Emily Longnecker caught up with neighbors on East 71st Street.
So I'm on the river, kind of the corner of Riverfront and the river.
Chad Thompson loves the water. For 9 years, he's called the White River his neighbor, living in a home next to it in Indy's Ravenswood neighborhood. And for the most part with that choice, Thompson has come to expect some flooding.
It happens 3 or 4 times a year.
But not like this.
I've never seen it get even into my yard, let alone into my house.
Sunday, Thompson needed a kayak to get to his house after this weekend's historic flooding of the White River submerged homes and vehicles in Ravenswood.
Just going in to grab a few items to hold me over for a day or two until the water goes down. Then I can drive back and take care of the rest of it.
He's not the only one who had that same idea.
We're getting our life destroyed right now, so we have stuff in there that we have to get, valuables, stuff we can't live without.
Justin Palland, his wife, and 2 dogs evacuated their Ravenswood home Saturday in kayaks.
You kayaked out.
Yep, and we put, I have a 150-pound Ken Corso I put in this one, and we have a 50-pound pit bull, we put her in that one.
Sunday, Palland used those same kayaks to go back into his home and check out the damage.
My house is still livable, minus the basement, furnace, air conditioner, but that's okay.
Okay, because this is home for so many longtime Ravenswood residents. But the thought of cleaning up and rebuilding is daunting for sure.
It has upended our lives and everyone else's, but we still have our life.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing.
Yeah.
So we're blessed. And we're staying positive.
God's good.
Keeping it all in perspective there. Meantime, city officials are telling us it'll be safe for people to get back into their homes in Ravenswood as early as tomorrow. Also, Marion County now has a flood resource page with shelter, travel, property damage info where you can apply for help. We have a link. You can find it at WTHR.com. Further north, people are already returning home to their apartment complex on River Road. This is not far from the Fashion Mall, if you're familiar with that area. They needed to be evacuated after flooding washed out a road on Saturday. Here's video from Saturday. This is what it looked like. That road is gone. DPW says their biggest concern was erosion near that apartment complex, but they say that threat is now over. There are also resources for those impacted by these storms and heavy flooding across central Indiana. The Indiana Department of Homeland Security is activating Indiana 211. So you just pick up the phone and call 211 or the number on your screen, 866-211-9966. This is to make sure the agency gathers as much information as possible about damage across several counties. So call the number on your screen, or you can visit the 211 website to file a report. We also know that the I-Town Church is working to help Hoosiers who've been impacted by flooding. They are offering food, hygiene kits, and more supplies and resources. This is going to be going on today at the Olson Farms campus in Fishers right now until 2 o'clock.